The story of artificial intelligence is often told as a triumph of innovation, but beneath its breakthroughs lies a quieter, darker history, one shaped by fear, secrecy, and ethical uncertainty. Long before AI entered smartphones and search engines, early experiments were driven by a Cold War obsession with control and prediction. In the 1940s and 1950s, as computers emerged from military laboratories, governments began to wonder whether machines could not only calculate faster than humans, but also think, decide, and even outsmart them. This question turned intelligence itself into an experimental battlefield. In 1950, Alan Turing proposed a test to determine whether a machine could imitate human thought, but the idea quickly moved beyond philosophy. By the late 1950s and 1960s, researchers funded by military agencies attempted to build systems that could translate languages, recognize patterns, and assist in strategic decision-making. These early AI projects were ambitious, but deeply flawed. Computers were fed limited data, rigid rules, and unrealistic expectations. When machines failed to deliver human-level intelligence, funding was abruptly cut, leading to what became known as the first AI winter. Behind the scenes, however, experimentation did not stop, it simply became more secretive. One of the darkest chapters emerged from the use of early intelligent systems in warfare. During the Vietnam War, the United States deployed computer-based systems to analyze data and predict enemy movements. These systems, lacking context and human judgment, often produced misleading conclusions. Decisions influenced by flawed machine analysis contributed to devastating consequences on the ground, revealing a dangerous truth: intelligence without understanding can amplify human error rather than reduce it. In the 1970s and 1980s, expert systems, programs designed to replicate the decision-making of human specialists, rose to prominence. They were used in medicine, finance, and military planning. While impressive, these systems operated as black boxes. Even their creators could not always explain how conclusions were reached. In some cases, medical expert systems produced incorrect diagnoses, raising ethical concerns about trusting machines with human lives. The pursuit of artificial intelligence had moved faster than society's ability to question its limits. As computing power increased in the late 20th century, experiments shifted toward learning machines. Neural networks, inspired by the human brain, were trained on massive datasets. But these datasets often reflected human bias, racial, social, and economic. Facial recognition systems, developed in the 1990s and early 2000s, showed significantly higher error rates for women and people of color. These were not technical accidents, they were the result of experiments conducted without diverse data or ethical oversight. Intelligence was being taught, but fairness was ignored. The 21st century introduced a new shadow: surveillance. Governments and corporations began using AI to monitor behavior, predict actions, and influence decisions. Algorithms trained on personal data learned how to manipulate attention, shape opinions, and reinforce beliefs. Experiments in social media recommendation systems demonstrated that AI could quietly affect emotions and political polarization at scale. These were not science fiction scenarios, but real-world tests conducted on millions of people without their explicit consent. Perhaps the most alarming experiments involve autonomous weapons. Modern AI systems can identify targets, track movement, and make lethal decisions faster than any human. While often described as defensive tools, these technologies raise profound ethical questions. Once intelligence is given the power to kill without human judgment, responsibility becomes dangerously unclear. The experiment is no longer confined to a lab, it extends to the future of warfare itself. Today, artificial intelligence continues to advance at extraordinary speed. Researchers now debate machine consciousness, alignment, and control, echoing fears first raised decades ago. The dark history of AI experiments is not a tale of evil intent, but of unchecked ambition, of intelligence pursued without wisdom. It reminds us that every experiment leaves a mark, not just on machines, but on humanity. As we build systems that learn, decide, and act, the greatest question remains unanswered. Not whether machines can think, but whether humans are prepared to take responsibility for what they create.